see her rise on the world stage. This budget was presented in a global environment of great uncertainty, where the world is emerging from a pandemic that has shaken the roots of the world like never before in the last 100 years, where the world is witnessing a war between Russia and Ukraine, where the after effects of both of high inflation are ravaging the world. And in this environment of uncertainty, in this environment of global risks, India has steered the path for the world throughout this uncertainty and also through the budget. Under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, in the last 8 years, we have moved from being the 11th largest economic growth center to becoming the 5th largest economy in the world. Prime Minister successfully, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, kept inflation under check. Along with this, another very important indicator with regard to inclusivity. If you look at the percentage of extreme poverty, what was left in legacy by the former UPA government at 18.7%, extreme poverty, that today has fallen by 870 basis points to 10% in 2018. It will further decline to 5% by 2030, and it will be almost eradicated to 1.5% by our Shatabdi Kal in 2047. Similarly, the incidence of poverty, which is different from extreme poverty, the incidence of poverty in India has declined from 55% in 2005-06 to 16% in 2019-21. So across all indicators, whether it is inflation, whether it is per capita income, whether it is our growth rate, whether it is the level of our economy, India has emerged on the world stage, and India has arrived on the world stage under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Today, merchandise exports in India have grown at roughly 8 to 9%, as opposed to a paltry 1% global average. So we are almost 7-8% beyond what the world average is. We are looking at the emergence of a bright spot in terms of India, and as Prime Minister has always said, Bharat चुनौतियों में अवसर ढूंढता है. Under PM Modi's leadership, India looks for opportunities in challenges, to be able to convert them to her advantage, to be able to grow on the security to a process of strengthening. That is the focus of our inclusivity mandate. The PM Awas Yojana has received a 66% increase in funding to 79,000 crores. The focus on empowerment of SAGs. First was the focus on the formation of self-help groups for our Mahilas, for our rural areas. Now is the empowerment of our SAGs, to grow them from nascent SAGs to large enterprises. And therefore the focus on in this budget, from a finance standpoint, on the 81 lakh SAGs across the length and breadth of our country to be able to upgrade them. We're also putting in place 157 nursing colleges, along with the 157 medical colleges that we have already sanctioned. The education sector has received its highest ever allocation of close to 1,13,000 crores, which has been allotted by the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister. And therefore, this is a win-win budget for everyone, where even the salaried class have been made to experience much lower tax rates, which will then spur consumption, will spur demand, and in turn will spur the economy. Now, coming to infrastructure. Every rupee spent on infrastructure yields close to about 2.8 in terms of GDP growth. And therefore, we have increased for the third year the capex outlay on infrastructure investment to 10 lakh crores from last year's 7.5 lakh crores, an increase of almost 33%, which is close to 3.3% of our GDP. Along with this, we have also given incentives to states by extending their loans, their 50-year loans by 1 year, so that they can invest in capex from a state perspective as well. So it's a full federal step where the center and the states have both been pushed to make sure that we increase capex in our country. So along with the states, that percentage of GDP goes from 3.3% to almost 4.75%. Now, if you look at sectoral allocation ability, along with this, as I mentioned, airports, in the function that I just had, in 67 years of India's independence, we had built 74 airports in the country. And in the last 8.5 years, we have built 73 new airports, waterdromes, and heliports. So we've gone from 74 to 147. We are one short of doubling the number. And the 148th airport will be also completed in this month itself, which means that what India took 66 or 67 years to build under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that has been done in a period of 9 years. And this target will go ahead of 200 airports, waterdromes, and heliports in the next 5 to 6 years. Along with this, another 50 additional airports, waterdromes, and heliports have been sanctioned in the budget. Under UDAN, we were building 100 airports. We will now build 150 airports, waterdromes, and heliports in the next couple of years to come. Along with this, in the area of metros, which is important for Chennai as well. Along with this, we have also concentrated on India being a Vishwaguru, a world leader. The International Solar Alliance, pioneered by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President, bringing almost 100 countries together, of which India hopes to contribute 100 gigawatts in renewable power. We're also looking at a green transition. The world today has finite resources, and therefore the green agenda is on top of the Prime Minister's mind, and we have committed close to about 35,000 crores towards that green transition. Tamil Nadu also stands to benefit from that, because Tamil Nadu is one of the largest contributors to renewables in the country. On fiscal discipline, which is at the core of any budgetary exercise, keeping in mind the extenuating circumstances and the extreme thrust on capex, our fiscal deficit has still been kept at close to 6.4% of GDP. Next year's target is close to 5.9%, and in FY26, financial year 26, we are targeting close to 4.5%, coming well within the targets that we had set for ourselves in the FRBM Act, the Fiscal Responsibility Management Act, which was mandated by Parliament. For Tamil Nadu also, there are tremendous advantages that are in place in the budget. On the one hand, with regard to share of central taxes, though in the budgetary exercise of Tamil Nadu, 33,000 crores had been allocated for, in the RE, the revised estimate from the centre, close to 38,000 crores will devolve to Tamil Nadu in terms of its share of central taxes. This is for FY 22-23 at the Chennai airport. This is a 250 crore investment by the Airports Authority of India. We will almost have 2,150 car parking facility along with 4,000 bikes. Tremendous capabilities, 3-star green rating on Griha, building management facilities, electrical vehicle charging facilities, and computerized parking facilities that will allow the customers to see in red which car spots are occupied and green which car spots. Airports in Tamil Nadu. In those 9 airports, a tremendous amount of development is also happening. Vellore is being readied for RCS service. Trichy, we are putting in place a new integrated terminal, 200 crores. Chennai, I've already mentioned. We also have an ambitious program for Parandur, where the proposal has come from the TIDCO. It is being examined within the ministry, the Airports Authority of India and DGCA. And let me commit that we are fully the approval.
Sir, Ramnad Airport, sir.
Sorry?
Ramnad Airport in Tamil Nadu.
We have not, I don't recall offhand, but I do not recall that there's a proposal that has come there. As I mentioned, that I can't rattle them off to you. Vellore, Madurai, Coimbatore, Tuticorin, and 2 or 3 others. So if they send a proposal, we'll certainly look at it. We are all for increasing the width and the depth of airport penetration in our country, and which is why I mentioned to you 74 airports in 66 years and 73 airports, waterdromes and heliports in 8 years of Prime Minister Modi's government. And we will not rest here. We need to take that number upwards of 200. So we are looking for assistance from state governments to increase that penetration. And let me also add one more point. That penetration cannot be only on the international route. That penetration cannot be only on tier 1 cities route. We've got to take civil aviation infrastructure, which is Prime Minister's vision of Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, Udan. Hawai chappal pehne wala bhi hawai jahaj mein ude. So we've got to take it down to tier 2, tier 3 cities. And which is why under Udan, we have introduced last year a small aircraft scheme for only sub 20-seater aircrafts. So not ATRs, not Boeings, not Airbuses, not big 787s and 777s and Airbus 350s, but small aircrafts, sub 20 seaters, so that the penetration down to the grassroots level, whether it is through aircraft or helicopters. So we've got a lot of routes functioning in Uttarakhand, in Himachal, in Jammu Kashmir, in northeast states, advanced landing grounds on the border of Arunachal Pradesh. Have for the chief ministers of all those state governments. Out of those 24, 16 state governments have moved from a 20 to 30% VAT regime to a 1 to 4% VAT regime. So now we have 28 states that are in 1 to 4 and only 8 states left which are still in the 20 to 30%. So my fervent appeal to the state government of Tamil Nadu also is to lower the VAT. If you lower the VAT, you will get greater connectivity. If you lower the VAT, you will get greater economic multipliers, because when you have greater civil aviation connections, it leads to economic growth for that state. And also you will have greater refueling in the state. And that's also something that I have requested the state government. I do hope that they will help me so that we can provide greater connectivity in Tamil Nadu. Thank you very much.
Sir, two questions, sir.
वो two नहीं, one करो यार.
Hindu, sir.
I'll keep it short. Sir.
Yeah.
So one, of course, while the budget has been appreciated on several fronts, the opposition has also criticized it for reduced spending in social sector, including Manrega, and they've alleged that.
You see, the problem.
Even in your sector, the allocation has come down.
No, it hasn't come down.
To 3,000 crores.
See, the problem is that you look at the headlines, but we don't do the due diligence. That's the problem. So let me start with the second part of your question. So the allocation was 9,000 crores reduced to 3,000 crores. Why? Because last year, a huge allocation of 6,500 crores to 7,000 crores was for Air India. That is now divested. So in fact, the finance minister and the prime minister, and I'd like to thank them both, have increased the width and breadth of civil aviation by granting 50 more airports for expansion, for new growth. So where Udan had 100 airports, out of which we have built 73 already from 2016 till today, because Udan Yojana came into being only in 2016. And in the last six and a half years, we've done 73 airports, waterdromes and heliports. So that target now has gone from 100, so we had to build only 27 more, has gone from 100 to 150. So therefore the resource envelope has also been increased for civil aviation, because civil aviation is the infrastructure sector. And like other sectors in infrastructure, which I've already told you and explained to you, the allocation has increased. With regard to the opposition, there are some people whose job it is to be myopic. There are some people whose job it is to be obstructionist. There are some people whose job it is to be narrow-minded. And there are some people whose job it is to see India not grow. I have given you the balance sheet of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government over a 9-year period. Where India was in 2014, where she is now. From the 11th largest economy to the 5th largest economy. Not only that, her journey from where she is now to where she will be in
150 Udan, what time, sir?
No, not 150, 50. 100 has already been allocated. So we have to finish 100 airports by 2025.
That is from 73 to 100. We're expanding.
Total 100 airports. And then now we have to do another 50. We will do the other 50 also. What are they? You've seen our track record. When they say that your historical track record must belie what must get what your